Hello, trading has closed on December 11th, 2024. As always, we'll start with our disclaimer. We'll go over our calls, make our predictions. Please remember, my calls can be completely wrong. I can change them. Any trades you make should be made at your own risk. Look for the pattern with the early high. That's certainly what this is. Tomorrow has the early low. We had some targets, 60, 48, 90, and 60, 59, 20. I said, unless we gap down smartly, they should print, but a major economic report was coming out. This pattern's not complete as far as I'm concerned, so they might not work. Well, we gapped up smartly, so the price targets remained on track. We didn't gap down smartly, that's for sure. And not only did they print, but these numbers aren't just targets, they're support resistance level. And here's your support right there. So those worked after all. Let's take a look at what happened during the day. BGT said this rally wouldn't stick, it retraced, said this drop wouldn't stick, it retraced. That's already played out. Here it's ultimately we trade higher, that's high enough. We usually get more, but doesn't break any rules. We got the lower target, that's already played out. So we have to use other things to make a call for tomorrow. Now the producer price index comes out tomorrow. I just can't predict the response with my usual degree of accuracy, but let's see what we have. We have a strong rally which closed under all these highs and all these highs. So for now at least, it's just backing and filling of a drop that we don't think's over. Now that could all change tomorrow if we open here, and I don't know where we're going to open. But for now, it's a negative pattern. We also gapped up, hit higher highs, closed under all the highs, and if that's maintained, it's a negative pattern. Now again, tomorrow's open can substitute for this close. We can open here and all that negativity goes away. But right now it's negative. We also have a stilt. Half a diamond's enough. There's no requirement that the diamond on stilts pattern goes to completion. But if the response to PPI is negative, and if we're dropping, the target and the next support is to undercut this low, undoing all of today's rally. So, of course, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I don't know where we'll open. But we have a pattern which is vulnerable to gapping down. If we don't gap up and take this high, if we don't gap and take these highs out early, we should trade lower. And if there's a negative response, here's your target, which doesn't have to be met, but usually is. We have to find some way to count the waves here. We have 5 waves completed. If there's a way to count it, we have to come up with something, and I don't think it's that easy. I'll show you what I have. I'm counting, this is where we had wave 5 ending with the ending diagonal triangle. We have an ABC with C equal to A, and this looks to me like an X wave. It's a 3-wave structure which goes in a straight line, transverses the true trading range is roughly equal to this trading range, and you get another move down if this high holds, and that's an if the high holds, ending at roughly the same place for B. And it's possible to consider this a wall with gap. Now, it isn't perfect. This little consolidation here makes me think maybe that's not what it is, because we didn't just drop with conviction all the way down, but this came so late that if it is a wall with gap, it tends to fill completely, and if it fills completely, once again, the target's undercut those lows. So none of these things have to work. None of them have to go to completion. But if there is a negative response, they're all saying it's going to be here. It doesn't say there will be a negative response. But if there is, we're going to undo all of today's gains. And we don't know the response until tomorrow's open. So tomorrow's pattern here's the early low. It doesn't tell us where we opened. The producer price index comes out before the open. I just can't predict the response to major economic reports with a sufficient degree of accuracy. We gapped up, hit a higher high, but closed under intraday highs. And if that's maintained at the open, it's a negative pattern, should see lower prices, which doesn't tell us we close lower. But if we drop tomorrow, there's a good chance, not a guarantee, but a good high probability we're going to undo all of today's gains. I'm recording this before futures open. I don't think futures make a difference here. I think it's all going to be dependent upon the producer price index. And until that happens, I sure wouldn't risk any money on this. I'm not going to. We can go up here and make all this analysis worthless. But if there's a negative response, we have a number of patterns which say we're going to undo all of today's gains. It is the pattern tomorrow with the early low. We have to see the response to the report, and that's today's call.